Hey people, and today we're going to be building a 4-foot tall statue of a face with a hollowed out back. So let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, let's make a little mock-up. Draw a little face very quickly, very quickly, like so. There we go. And we'll cut that out. Okay, so now that we've got it cut out, all we're going to do is make that shape there. So from the side view, it's got to come out that way. So we'll just make a template, which is that wide, like so, just coming out. A couple of little smiley faces like that. So from the side view, as you can see, it'll be popping out like that. Just making little smiley faces, and with some super glue, just very quickly, just glue it on to the profile there, like so. Bit of activator, so it's quick set, and there you have it. A rough side profile and front shape, and all we've got to do now is replicate that on a big piece of wood. I'll get straight back to you. Okay. Now all we do is just draw that rough shape onto there, about 4 foot. It's there, 120, but we're going to go just a bit less because we've got a base, middle line, and a rough shape. Just roughly cut that out, and we've got it ready. Okay, so all I've done here is I've just refined those edges there so you at home can see and I can see better to cut it round. That's not the line, that's the line right there. Okay, let's cut it out. Perfect. Okay, so we've got our rough shape. Now all we've got to do is these bits. So from the side view, it looks 3-dimensional. Hope you can see that, like that. Right, so all I've done is I've cut this piece of wood down, put a bracket across there, and now I've got my side profile, and I'm just going to screw it like that. And that way we've got the side profile and the front. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've got that ready with the side profile, and now I'm just going to make some of these little smiley faces out of these bits of offcut woods. There you go. That's basically that view, like that. And this is the side view with the shelves. Now all we do, just fill in these little shelves with expanding foam. Okay, so what I've got here is expanding foam filler, the stuff you put around windows. And what I've done here, just very quickly, I've got some cardboard and some aluminium tape, and I've just bulked out those little shelves, just so I'm not spraying in and wasting all that foam. So just spray it on, gravity fed, like so. Okay, so I'm just building out that chin area there. Try not to lose this line, the wooden line, so you know where your profile is. As you can see, it's got a nice shape to it. I can even sort of imagine the nostrils there. Look at that. Yeah, and that will expand much bigger, so you'll have plenty to cut away, and that's that. Hope that makes sense. Right, so all the foam is dry, nice and dry. Now you've got to wait for about 8 hours because the foam can skin up on the edge, but inside it can still stay wet. So you want to make sure that's had time to dry. Now, it's all gone off. Now, what I'm looking at here is that side profile there. And what we want to do is we want to just get that back. So we've got the wood here, which we cut out to begin with, and we just want to get that back. So just go along that piece of wood. You just want to get that side profile back so you've got that wood showing all the way. Just get all that back so it's exposed, so you know that that side line there is back with the profile. All that profile showing. And if you go too far, don't worry, you can just add more foam. Okay, so we've got that side profile back. Hope you can see that. That one there. I've got it back. So now we just start hacking at that and try and get that back roughly to shape. As I said, if you go too far, just add more foam. And if you need to cut more away, just cut more away. It's as simple as that. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm just getting some rough shapes into the face. Just get that nose there. And the eyes. And the mouth. And then the chin. Just very, very roughly. There we go. Just roughly, so you can see roughly where everything goes. It's got to come off there a bit. And then we can go in with some finer detail later. It's just to get everything in place. So that's where the eyes are, roughly. There we go, that's better. Yes, that's coming back. You can start to see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the tilt on the head. Of course, the chin's got to go in a lot more, but into the neck. But it's starting to look like something. I'll just keep refining that and I'll get straight back to you. Right, so I've got to a point now where I'm happy with all the foam there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I've just cut the foam to shape like that sort of thing. And then I just go in and I cover it with this silver foil. See, like that. Just cover the whole thing like that. And when you've covered the whole thing, then I just go in with some wet clay. It's water-based, about I'd say about 1.5 centimeters thick, and just give it a layer all over, like that. See, just like that. So you just get it on there roughly, and then when you want to smooth it off, just take some water, wet it down, and smooth it away. And you do this over the whole sculpture until it's completely covered. Just old clay, don't have to use the fresh stuff. It's the ones that I used for an old sculpture and then broke it up and kept it in an old bag. Okay, so I'll cover all that and I'll see you in about 3 hours time. Okay, so the sculpture is done. It's taken me about 4 hours. I hope you can see that. There, it's a drawing and the finished sculpt. And side view, really accentuated features, so it looks really cool. And also, when I go over it with the matting, it will lose a bit of detail, so with them being extra deep, you won't lose as much. So I'll just wait for that to dry a bit, then apply some petroleum jelly and I'll fiberglass it. There you have it. Okay, so I've Vaselined him up. He's all Vaselined. Everywhere it's shiny, you can see it's got Vaseline on, so the fiberglass matting doesn't stick to it. I hope you can see that. So now, all I'm doing is I'm going in with some matting, and it's just a simple case of dampening it and then introducing it onto the sculpt, like so. And then just tap it down. Get rid of any air bubbles underneath so it's nice and flat. Try not to touch the brush onto the Vaseline. because that way you'll get Vaseline onto the brush and then it won't stick. So just stay clear of the edge, and I'll go around this in about half an hour. Okay, and that is the last piece, and you won't believe it, I'm left with about, let me check, 3 pieces of matting, and that's jellied up, so it started to go off, so it's just in time. So there you go, all fiberglassed, and just let that dry. He's looking cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so it's been about 4 hours drying. It's not completely dry. It's just green, just still solid enough to take off, but it's green, so it's flexible. The reason I've done that is I want to take it off tonight because there's a couple of little undercuts, I don't know if you can see there, where it curbs in a bit, and while it's flexible it'll come off dead easy, but once it goes off tomorrow completely, it will not come off so easy. So here it goes. Oh, that's a good sign. Oh, that's good. Don't know if you can see that, but see how it goes. Get some air underneath it there. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm liking this. Oh yes. This is where that petroleum jelly Vaseline comes in handy. Sorry baby. It's coming. It's coming off. That's not bad at all. And it's came off really easy. It's empty on the inside. And it's super light. Now, all we need to do is let that dry, and in the morning we'll be able to start doing the next step. That came out quite nice. Now you could fix this up and make another, but I think one will do. Good boy. Okay, so it's the next morning. It's all dry, nice and solid. Now all we've got to do is de-Vaseline the inside with some acetone with a rag and get it set up for foam. Okay, so we're all set. I've de-Vaselined it the best I can, and all I'm doing now is I'm just blowing the same expanding foam filler into the back. Just remember that this stuff does expand, so don't overdo it. And this way we'll end up with a nice thick layer once we fiberglass the back, and it'll seem like it's a block of stone. This is exciting footage, so do all of this. I'll get back to you. There we go. Just enough to give it a bit of a thickness. That will expand, and then we'll just take the next step when it's dry. The foam has almost dried. It's just a little bit soft still, so while that's going off, I'm just going to cut a 60 centimeter circle out of this wood. And now I'm just going to go in and spray some expanding foam on it, so we've got a little bit more thickness. And just spray it down with some water straight away, which makes it expand better, faster, and it ends up stronger. Right, so that's dry enough now. It's holding itself. It's not completely dry, but it's holding itself. It's sticking underneath there so it doesn't fall off. And I just realized it would be cool to have the beginnings of an ear just as the sculpt breaks away. So I've just marked out where it is. I'll just give it a bit of an ear lobe. Gone a little overboard there because when it dries, it'll expand, and I just cut away as if it's just broken off like a statue, like a Roman statue. And then I'll just carve it back. Right, so that's about 5 hours later. It's nice and dry. That's dry, and the earlobes, they're also dry. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hack away at this back bit so it looks like it's sort of hacked away, so it looks kind of like it's carved out of one piece of stone. I'm also going to refine those earlobes there, and this base here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off straight but slant it down a bit, just a little bit, so it's tilting down a bit. So when I put the face on it, it's going to lean back a bit, so because it sits on the floor, I want it to look like it's looking over the garden, so it's a bit more powerful, more of a majestic look. So I'll just do that. Just basically just hack away. I'll straighten this off first. Get that straight and hack away at this. Just not perfectly, just so it looks like it's been carved out of one piece of stone. And then this, I'm just going to cut straight across. There's the base, there it is, about that high like that, and it slants down a bit. Now I know what you're thinking, why didn't you carve the face so it tilts back a bit? Good question, but I didn't. So this is the next best thing. Right, so I've got those earlobes refined a bit. I also have hacked out the back so it looks like broken stone when it's fiberglass, and I've also cut this down on a bit of a tilt. Don't know if you can see that. So it goes down a bit, so it sits backwards a bit. And I've also just taken a marker pen. I've just done my rough cut around the sculpt, so I'll just go in and do that. Perfect. Okay, that looks better. Yeah. Oh, that looks cool. A little bit too thick there. Just do that. Just get rid of that. And that's looking cool now. Very cool. Okay, so that's all ready, set up. I've got my chop matting there ready to go, and I've got my base there. This is just an old bucket. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a rough job. It's got to look rough. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just mixing some resin here with some catalyst. Now, if you want to know how to mix this, you can go and watch my Groot video. I go into detail, but for today, that'll do just fine. Just mix that up quickly. Okay, there we go. So now it's just a simple case of wetting out the matting. How do I do this? Hold on, that's better. Just wet out the matting there, like so. Make sure there's no dry spots, the edges, and then just simply lay it on top and go into all those areas that we hacked out so it looks really organic, like a piece of stone that's just been chipped away. In fact, the glove works good here. That works really well. Excellent. Alright, so we're just finishing up here. I know it looks an absolute mess, but it's meant to. It's meant to look very rough and ready like broken stone. Can you see? Hope you can see that. And I've also just done this here, just the top plate, and I broke away the foam there, so it's going to look like cracked stone. You'll see what I mean when we go all the way around, but that's basically the top and bottom of it. Well, that's the bottom of it. That's the top of it. Okay, so I'll keep going, and hopefully we can get it set on the stand tonight. Okay, so that back bit's dry, and now all I got to do is connect this to that in between there. So let's go for this. I hope my angles are okay. It's hard to predict when you're concentrating on the angles as well. So basically all I'm doing is this. I'm just folding that over and trying to get as much texture as I can on this side, like so, and then blending this away to nearly nothing so it stays flat. That's basically it, people. Just want a nice, like a big dent or crack right there coming down, and after with the top coat I can make that crack at the side there much deeper by just make sure I get it in place, and then I can make it look more real with the top coat. That's good, yeah. So really make sure that looks like a crack there and it comes in to the sculpture. That's really good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'll go all around that and then I'm going to go all around this off camera, and when it's done, check back in with you. Okay, so that's all dry now. The outside, the inside, I hope you can see that. And I've also fiberglassed this stand here. I fiberglassed it on the underside, the sides and the top. Now let's introduce it on top, like so. Get it centered. There we go. Oh, that's looking cool. Yeah, side view. And of course the back, I've just got to fiberglass that to strengthen it there. And also fiberglass this lip to this, clean it all up, give it a good sand down, and then a top coat, and then paint job, and we're done. Right, so that's all dry. Laminated the base, sanded him down. He's looking good. There he is. I'm loving that side profile there. That's really cool. Okay, for my next trick, I'm just gonna mix some resin, Fiberglass, and some catalyst, and then just paint it on really, really smooth so it looks like stone. Okay, for the mixing ratio, if you want to know exact, precise measurements, you can check out my group video, and that goes into more detail. For now, that will be enough, I think. Let's measure this precisely. That's perfect. Some Fiberglass, and mix it all together. And now we just paint it on to make it all nice and smooth. Don't go crazy, just you want to get rid of all those matting strands so it looks more like stone. Go over the whole thing and then sand it back. This will take me about half an hour, and I know it's very exciting footage, so I'll turn the camera off and turn it back on when I'm finished. Okay, so I've covered it all, and now I'm just stippling it all over so it just has a little bubbly feel, and then when it dries you can sand it back and get rid of any of those little bumps. And what you're doing is you're going into the deep spots, fill in those holes, and then when it dries and you sand it back, it gets straighter and straighter, and you do this a couple of times until it's completely smooth. There you go. That's looking cool. Oh yeah. Just a quick note to my future self, don't mix that much because it's a waste. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning, just 5 to 4, so I think I'm done for tonight, for this morning I mean. I'll have to stop now because I've got to be up early in the morning, so I'll get back to it tomorrow. I've done all the nose, the forehead, bits of the chin, all inside there. So sand all that down and then ready for paint. Okay, so it's all dry, sanded down. It's the next day and we're ready for paint. Now, what I've got here is I've got a stone color, which is kind of appropriate. And I'm just going to go in there and paint the whole thing one color, even coat over everything. You know, every time I create one of my statues, I like to give it a backstory to keep me motivated throughout the build. And this fella, his backstory is he is one of 4 statues handcrafted to represent the 4 seasons, this one being winter, and the other 3 statues have crumbled over the years. This one is the only one that survived because it was handcrafted from the northernest part of China in a sacred tiger sanctuary where the stone in the north had climatized to the winter, and that's what allowed it to survive. And to think after all that time it's survived and it's ended up in a garden in England. Well, there you have it. Okay, so that's all dry, that first coat. Perfect. And now we're going in for the details. Now, it's this paint here. I'll just put it in a little pot there. And all we do is just get it really, really liquidy and just go into all those little cracks there. And then before it has a chance to set, wipe it off with some sponge, like so. And then what it does is it sets itself inside those little cracks and holes. So it just gives it more of a stone look. I'll keep doing that and I'll show you the finished result. Okay, just finishing up here, and there you go. It's all done. Looks great. It just comes to life when you put that darker tone into it. It just looks so 3D. Oh, see that crack there? Now it looks like it's been hacked out the back. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, obviously. The two people I'm making this for, they are two of my best friends. What's the difference between a friend and a best friend? A friend will always compliment you, but a best friend will tell you the truth. So we might fall out if they don't like this statue. I'm only kidding. I'm used to people criticizing my face. Anyway guys, see you next time.